So I appreciate that.
How much does it cost?
$15. Yeah. Oh.
You have a question over here.
Jose.
How did you know you were done?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Like with my mermaid book, I remember feeling like I was coming to the end of it, and I knew I only had like a couple chapters left, and I just knew. And same with this one. I wrote it, but then I went back and edited like a few parts of it quite a few times, and I was just like, I feel like it's almost done, but it's just not there yet. Like I'm not totally happy with it. It's like an artist, like my dad's a painter, and only the artist knows when it's done, you know? Like no one can tell you. It's just you've got to be happy with it. Yeah. James.
Did you know the answer to the question when you started?
Yeah, it's funny. I went back and forth on that too. At the very beginning, I was like, I don't want anyone to, like, I didn't want the characters to find out the answer to the question. But then as I wrote it, I sort of changed my mind a little bit on that, but you have to read it.
Did you come up with like the whole premise and then decide to write around it? Or did you come up with like the beginning, like, I think I'll start here and just kind of see where it took you?
Yeah, it's kind of both. Like, I think when I write, I know that there's certain things that I want to include in it. Like, I will write like all these like truths or points that I'm like, okay, this has to go in the book. But I don't really know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know all the different situations the characters are going to get themselves in until I start writing it, and then it just sort of like takes me there. Any other questions? Oh, James.
When's the next one coming?
I don't know. I haven't started an actual novel yet again, but I've been writing a lot of little short stories. So I think I want to make a book of short stories at some point, and I'll definitely write more novels. I know that now. Yeah. Marcus.
So when you write these books and you say, you know, the air represents you or that sister represents you, how much of you is in that sister? Do you ever say like, I don't want to say that about myself?
Yeah, it is like, it's funny, like Anala is me, you know, like for whoever's read my mermaid book, like she's a version of me, and then same, like this girl's name is Ayala, and she's also a version of me, and I started writing the book actually from the third person, like each sister was just going to be a character, including myself, but after I wrote a few chapters, I was like, I felt like I had to write it almost diary style because it's so much of what's going on in my head and so many like deep questions that I like really go into, and it was easier for me to write almost as myself through a character.
Is there an age group that your target market is for both of those? Because I'm interested in mermaid.
Yeah, I'd say it's young adult, but it could be really for anyone. But I'd say like high school and up, even middle school maybe. They're both like pretty PG, I'd say, so it's okay, you know.
Even for old guys.
Even, yeah.
I love both of them.
My dad's my biggest fan.
Will this become a series?
So the mermaid from my first book makes an appearance in my second book, even though they're not related. So I tie it in a little bit. I don't know if I'll make another actual like Witch Sisters sequel, or if the next book I write will be different, but maybe it'll be tied somehow. Yeah.
So it's obvious that this book is like really reflective of your journey thus far. Like, do you feel like you've really like encompassed all of like your experience and like your perception up until this point in this book?
Yeah, I feel like I have, and even like while writing it, it was a journey, and there's times that I'm like, okay, something will happen, and I'm like, I want to include this in the book, you know, in some way, and yeah, I would say that it has. And this book feels like the latest version of me, where Anala feels like a younger version of me, somewhat. Somebody had a question there, I think. Craig.
Yes. What makes you air?
So I'm a Libra, which is one of the air elements. But I think Gemini and
Aquarius
are the 2 other air elements. So of all the horoscope signs, 3 of them fit into each of the 4 elements. So that's why I'm air. Yeah. And Tyler's fire and Brittany's water. Yeah. And Kelsey's not here. She's earth.
Would you say like all of the sisters and their signs, according to their horoscopes and like the way the stars were aligned, does it mesh really well together? Like, and it just kind of creates that sisterly bond for them to kind of prevail through the entire journey?
Yeah, it does. And like, it is crazy how even with each of my sisters, we do really embody our elements. And it just, I didn't even realize it growing up. And then my youngest sister got really into astrology, she's not here, but yeah, she sort of gave me the idea, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, we each really do embody like air, water, you know, earth and fire. And I try to make like little challenges throughout the book where they each are kind of called upon in that realm to do like a little spell or something that propels them to the next level. So it starts out in earth and then they go to fire, and I do it from youngest to oldest actually. So like it starts out in earth, which is Kelsey, and she at the end kind of gets us out of the earth realm, and then we go into the fire realm. We go through all of these, you know, situations there, and then Tyler gets to the water realm, and then it's in that final realm of air where I'm by myself, or Ayala's by herself, and it's like that personal journey where, you know, finding that answer out for yourself.
One more question.
Yeah.
If you had not known or studied astrology about who's air, earth, or fire, who would you have become?
I don't know, because I knew it in advance, that just sort of like, it helped me like fit my element. But yeah, who knows, maybe if somebody told me I was a water element, I would think that that fit me too. I don't know. But everyone is composed of all the elements, or some people have more in their charts than others. So like I have a lot of water and air in my chart. But a lot of people have like an equal mix of, you know, fire and...
Right.
Yeah, so it like if you look at your chart, you can, depending on the time you were born, the place you were born, the day you were born, it gives you insights into more of your chart than just like your sun sign, which is like your actual birthday.
Okay.
So you probably have like a mix of elements in your chart, so you can kind of relate to all of them.
I think that when we have drinks afterwards, we're all going to look at our charts.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Yes.
The wisdom in your first book was like profound.
Yeah.
Absolutely profound. And I can already feel in this book, it's even more so like upbringing. Can you speak to a little bit about that question that you said that we all answer, like in terms of like what you can give us all to find that answer, like to point us, because in your first book, the last few pages, you just like pour it out. Like, through all of these journeys, this is the summary. Can you give us some of that? Like, I'm sure it's in the book, but like, can you give us some of it?
Yeah, like, I guess, so at the beginning, like, the crux of my novel is that we're seeking the answer to the question, but I never say what the question is, and I just say it's the biggest question of all time. So you can kind of like take that for whatever you want, like what's the meaning of life kind of thing. And all the sisters, the parents go out for the night, so the sisters are like, all right, let's do like this big spell tonight and try to find out the answer to the question. So like all the sisters are really excited, and they do a spell, and at first they think nothing happened, but then all of a sudden they find themselves in this other dimension. And it's along the way that they're just sort of like, what's going on? Where are we? We just want to get home at this point, and they're still trying to find the answer to the question, but then getting home is equally, if not more important, you know? Like, mom and dad are going to be worried about them, so they don't know where they are. And
did you make it?
they do make it home eventually, yeah.
Spoiled the book.
86 questions.
But yeah, I think it's like through experience and through starting to trust that that's when the answers start coming. Because when they're so wrapped up in, you know, fearing for like what's going on and not trusting, that's when like things aren't really working out. But then as they move along, they're like, wow, okay, like we're learning all of these things that we didn't know beforehand. And as they gain answers to other questions, they start trusting and realizing like everyone is there to help them. You know, everyone that's there is there to just like guide them and kind of like help them make their way home. And I think through those experiences, you start to see like you start to trust and kind of find the answers for yourself. And I think it's a constant journey anyways.
Cool. Awesome.
Beautiful.